what I do with these pages. Here's where we are. We're on page Kuf Kaf Zion. At the top it says, Hoysa tohu obohu v'choshek apanei tahom, ruch Elohim marachefes al panei hamayim. So he says, Tleisar, these are 13 words, Talia betleisa yakira di kurusa. And it all really is rooted in the beard. Okay, so I wanted to go over, once again, number Yud Gimel, down below, and let's read let's just read from Hoysa Tohu Uvohu V'choshek B'nei Tahom V'ruch Elokim Marachefes B'nei Hamayim. Okay, then he goes through the counting them up, and then he says Hamayim V'hem Romazin the Kaba B'chinu Shal Shavira Umisa. So these 13 have to do with different counts of Shavira Umisa Shal Sheva Malachim of the 7 Malachim. That's where we're at, number Yud Gimel, which is on the bottom. So number Yud Gimel says, call the pasuk Osheni, that is this pasuk, Haisatovu Dahu Abo, etc., ending up with Marachefes al Panei Hamayim, Ari bebechinas Mises Zion Hamalachim. So there's 13 words over there. They have to do with the death of the 7 Malachim Canal. Aras b'shem the Eitz Chaim, he says, look over there. The bechinas hatikun maskil rak b'pasuk shlishi, because actually here we're talking about the klipos really, or the tragedy, the sevira. So the shvira, he says over here it only starts on the 3rd pasuk is when they start about the tikkun. V'yomer Elokim yehi or, that's where it starts. We bring the light in, ayin sham. Now he's going to darshan this a little bit. V'rei gam b'likutei Torah. He says, Shabir, the lashon of pasuk kolo harbe bechinas shal shavir. It has within it many different aspects of breaking. Now, how many aspects there are, I'm not sure. So he says then, so he said, B'zel l'shona v'amba tohu uvohu v'choshek shuhu hashvira. So that's all the shvira. Well, the Fishu Hoyset Bechinas Harbe says since the Shvira took place all the way down the line, I guess he means in many different places or different aspects of breaking. So Shazun Nofla Lamata Bezu, in other words, one fell down lower than the next, and so they're in different places. Alakach Amatohu Obohu, that's to give you the idea that it's deep and then deeper or something like that. There are stages of where they fell. So it's known like this, that the kelim that were broken, yardu al makom habriya, they fell into bria. So I'm assuming that he means to say that bria is called choshech, and that's at the beginning of the deep depth, which I guess is a deeper darkness. So he says that the sofet tables here is the word kelim. Choshech al panei tahom. It's kalim. Kalim means the vessels they broke. There they are, the broken vessels. Kisham berosh habriya hu panei tahom. That's where the opening is, or the face of the depth. Ki misham lamatu hu hamayim. Now below that is where you find the mayim. So I thought mayim always referred to chesed, so I'm a little just, that's what he says. Kibisham the mata, that's where the mayim is. V'ruach Elokim marachefes, so this ruach of Elokim, which is lashon din, it's hovering over hu ha'or shalo hoya ha'kele yechola l'kabel. So in other words, the kalim which are broken, the ore doesn't go into bria. Instead, it says at the bana bebetzilus. So let me read it again. V'ruach Elokim marachefes. What is this? This is the ruach hu ha'or shalo hoya holchim hakelim yecholin l'kablo. So it's hovering over the mayim where the kalim, I guess it's a metaphor, are located. He says, "V'zehu ruach Elokim marachefes al pnei hamayim shalo yared mina or elakalim rak rapach netzutza." So marachefes is the word Meis Rapach. Bezechet Marachefes is the word Meis, and into the Meis, what is dead is all that's left is a Rapach. Shehem Gematria Avrayo. Now I just have to think about that again. So this is the Gematria of Avrayo, where this actually is 4 Avs, because Raya was 3 Avs. This is 4 Avs. So these are, I guess, that's the representation. He says that the Rapach is, the Meis Rapach is Avrayo, 4 Avs. V'achar hashvira nizdavgu hasag ima av. This is the avsag da'ak, ha'elyon da'ak. So he said, let me read it again. Hashvira nizdavgu hasag ima av, ha'elyon da'ak. So this is the ultimate yichud that takes place. Right? Now we have, this is after the shvira, there's a big time yichud that takes place. V'yotzach ha'b'mah ha'chodesh, and as a result of that, the Maha Chodesh comes out, derech metzach ha'elyon, that comes out through the forehead of Zer Anpin, who choyach misaken, and this is the Maha Chodesh that is misaken. V'zecher shen emba v'yorm Elohim yehi or, shu hamayim hamisaken, v'yehi or, and I guess v'yehi or, I'm not sure. And that makes the tikkun. So he says that v'yomer Elokim yehi or, when Hashem says that, that starts the beginning of the Machodesh to come out. Okay, so now let's read on a little bit more, because I want to read on, we have to read on a little bit more. So he says that after the Sheva Malachim, he says he wants to get into the concept of Talion, but place the Yekira de Kirusa. So he says that they really are rooted, and we were translating this word Talion is rooted now in the 13 tikkunim of the beard. So he said, "V'shlosh esrei tables elu hen keneged shlosh esrei tikkunim shel dikna derek anpin." Now, at number 14 and number 15, he discusses the possibilities that, not the possibilities, of it bringing facts to the fact that they're tied together, the 13 to 2 13s. Let's just see a little bit in the middle here in number 14. It says, Ki Yud Gimel tables Elu, Ramos in the Yud Gimel to Gundi Dikna the Kadisha to Erikanpen Adkan. He said, that's a quote from somewhere else, proving to us that that's actually the language. He says, Amnam, he says, Rei Bezoar Chai, he says, Shabir Khan, Seder Yud Gimel tables, Ba'ofen Acher, he has a different reference. This is what he says. Placer hem Yud Gimel Tevim min Elokim ad Elokim, Dahainu es HaShemayim ves HaAretz, of HaAretz Chesed L'sohu, V'bohu, V'hoshak B'decha Tahom, V'ruach. So he goes so far. So there's another count of Placer over there, the Yud Gimel Tikna. So that's really basically, he's verifying the counts in some way. So I went over to the next side, and I went over to because the number 15 and 16 pretty much going along the same way, to show you that the 13s go together. Now, I think there's a problem with that. So let me see. So I'm not sure how I understand it. So you have to look into this. He says, now they're really talking about breaking and dying. So he said, as a shvira. So then where do you see that that's talking about death? And when you talk about the tikkunim of the beard of Eric Anpin, or then you're talking about bringing them back to life. I guess it's Zer Anpin. Wait a minute, it has to be Eric Anpin that it has to be Eric Anpin bringing on a Machodash. So he says, Yud Gimel Tikkunei Misaknim as a Shvira, that rebuild the Shvira. V'rei Ba'or Yakar, the Ramak, so the Ramak talks about that, Shabir Shehem Remez Misbar Bilvad. It's just saying that the words are just the count. It just says, well, you have 13 over here, you have 13 over here. Amna misbach tikun dikna tikuni dikna hem amilus hoise tohu vohu v'choshek b'nei hamayim b'nei hatahom rather v'ruach elokim and rechabesas al b'nei hamayim hem yud givul tevos. So he says, well, you have those 13, and then they lined up with the 13 of the beard in some way. Below shehem mamish remish the yud gimel tikunim. It doesn't mean to say that there's a remez there to the 13 tikunim of the beard. So he said, but that's just the counts are the same. So the question is why did Rebbe Shimon say it? So why did he say that? Talian betlaser the akara de kirusa ad kan. So he says that's the reason why it says that they're rooted over there. I don't know, get it? If I'm translating rooted right, I ain't sure. But the Chori Yesh Lomar but actually you really have to look at it further. The Shapir Nirmez Bepasib Gan Yud Gimel Tikunim and Besaknim Besashavira. So also you really do have something here with the Yud Gimel Tikunim which are able to rebuild the Shvira. Hikdim Ba'omer Choisa Beloshan Avar. So he said it was like that. There's a condition that it was like that before the relationship, and then let's see the rest. Mishum the pasuk Iri la'achar hatikun. This is talking about after the tikun. Shegavar nesaknu called bechinas churban v'tohu, that all the destruction has been complete, resurrected, or what's the right word, or eliminated. And V'im came. Rumazim Yud Gimel Tevus a pasuk shachatikun choisa. So therefore, there's a reference here about the situation. It's reflecting on the situation. Al Yedei Yud Gimel Tikun Dikna. So it's reflecting. It's saying, well, this all really got worked out as a result of the tikunim of the Dikna. He says, Shabir, Lefi Darcho, he says, this is what he says, Shal Pasuk Romez al Sha'achar Horban. He says, the Pasuk is really talking about after the Horban, this is where the situation was, and then the Yud Gimel, Tikuni the Dikna, and you see that each one, maybe it's the idea that Ma Chodash, that each one of the letters attaches itself to one of the 13 different aspects of this, where they're sunk into the klipa, and somehow, over the course of time, whatever resurrects it. So then this will come back, and it shows you how they brought everything back, like it was before. So that's the idea of hois. It was kolomar shechazer lo havaya v'tikun kamo shehoisa. So the havaya comes back. It's misaking it like it was before the way it was. Ad kan shemafar shapasip ofin acher, where it explains it otherwise. Now that was number Tes Zion. Tes Zion is the end of that piece. So let's look at the next piece. And we're just reading. Let's just read the Rav. Not the Rav. I mean the Rebbe Shimon, the Rashbi. So it says, Shita alfi shnin talian b'shita kademoy. So the 6,000 years, he says, depends on the 6 that came before it. Shiviyah alayhu, and it becomes the 7th to them. So he says, the istakev beluchudoi, which is what? This is lashon tekifa, or it surrounds it by itself. V'his hariv kula b'treser shate. And in 12 moments, everything is destroyed. Because that's what it says, everything got destroyed. So, but Thlesar is, Tresar, not Thlesar. So, that's what he says, and I don't really know what it means. It says over here, bring this down a little bit. He says, Acha Shabir ki bechinas olam atohu. So they decided that is in fact what happens, is that so we're looking at it from the past, and we understand that's what, at least the last part, the way I understood it, the best I could appreciate it, let's say, Eser Tikuni Diknum, Yavoyer Ata, now he's going to explain, Ki Bepasuk Nirmez Bechinas Nosefes Shel Tohu Avohu. Now once it told us some other aspects of the status of the Tohu Bohu. Shetihyeh la'acher kiyum ma'olim b'sof sheshes alaf yishanim. So he says, what will that status be of the Tohu Bohu after the 6,000 years? Shehu sod churban han hagas ha'olam hazeh, which is the secret of the destruction of the ways in which this world works, sheyeh b'elef shavihi, which will be in the 7th millennium. Asher otis alim amalchu besod asher besod ashes chayil ataras bagel. Boy, this sounds like some heavy stuff. V'han hagas amalchus hatachtonis shehi besod shteim esrei shaus, which is the concept also of 12 hours. Tis Allah, they will raise themselves us l'shorsho elyon asher b'shlosh esrei tikuni dikna, their really upper root, which is the 13 tikkunim of the dikna. Now he just said that the 13 tikkunim of the dikna are ultimately responsible for resurrecting the kedusha from the klipa. So he said the last line is Tis'ala the shorsha. Now that means that is the root, their root. They're going to the place where they came from. Right, the DNAs match, all of them down the line. All of it will be renewed like it was. The Nizgav Hashem Levado, that he would stand up above, I guess and elevate himself by himself, Biyomahu, on that day. And I guess it's a lashon of Yichud. So, let's read a little bit. I've been listening to lectures from different rabbis, and they got Mashiach lectures, and we got plenty of that from different people, looking at this way or that way. It says, Shita alpe shenin, sheshes alaf eshana sha'olam miskayim, Talion b'shita kamoy. What are the shisha kamoy? Talia b'shesha shemei bereshis. Everything depends on the days of the bereshis, so it's one day for 1,000 years. Shehem sod shisha kitzvo shel zer anpin, chesed gevur teferes netzachot yisod. Shenisnaknu v'na'atzlo b'shesha yemecha bereshis. That they are all built up, put into place through the 6 days. So through them you see the 6,000 years of where the world's going to run. Every year there's another sphere that's in charge. The hind of Be'elef Rishon Sholhu Keneged Yom Rishon Sholet Han Hagas Spheres Chesed. Be'elef Sheni is the Hagas Sheni is Sholet Spheres Gevura. Be'elef Shlishi Sholhu Keneged Yom Shlishi Sholet Spheres Teferes. Be'elef Revi Sholhu Keneged Yom Revi Sholet Spheres Netzach Chesed. Be'elef Chamishi is going to be Sholet Spheres Hod. Be'elef Shishi is going to be Sholet Spheres Yisod. Sheviyol Alayhu. That's it, right there. We stop. Okay, Rebbe, have a wonderful Shabbos. Nice to learn with you. Thank you so much.